Council. And we believe that we are the solution to the issues in our community. Our theme is Nothing With Us, Without Us. The West Garfield Park Youth Council is sponsored by Fathers Who Care, which is a nonprofit organization located on the west side of Chicago within the West Garfield Park community. The West Garfield Park Youth Council is comprised of young people from our community whose focus and concern is youth leadership and voice within the community to reduce senseless violence and illegal substance use. We invite people from all over to come in and see what we are all about, especially our young people between the ages of 16 and 24. Our show will be scheduled every Thursday at 7 p.m. Again, that is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Our show can also be viewed online at www.cancv.org/live. Again, that is www.cancv.org/live. Well, everyone, I would like to introduce my guest this evening. Her name is Mrs. Gloria Jones. Again, I'm Vernisha Jones, and I'm the president of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. You are watching a live interactive program brought to you by CAN TV 21. Thank you once again for supporting us over the past years. During the next 25 minutes, we are going to discuss community leaders engaging and empowering our youth through social change and community empowerment. We invite our viewers watching via social media to help us with better ideas and thoughts on how we can better help our young people. Okay, Ms. Jones, I got some questions for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
How you doing today?
I'm doing just fine.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, can you tell our audience who is Gloria Jones and what's your purpose for existing?
Well, Gloria Jones is a mother. I'm a wife. And I'm someone that works hard to make a difference in the lives of others, especially our youth.
Okay, and what do you feel is your purpose? I feel like I know, but I think the people would like to know what is your purpose. What do you feel your purpose for existing?
I think my purpose for existing is to make a difference in the lives of those that I encounter, especially children. I love working with children. I love seeing the looks on their faces when I bless them. You know, it's about the children, you know, making a difference. And you know, I love working with children. I love giving back. I love seeing the looks on people's faces when I give, you know, so I just, you know, I love being a blessing. That's my purpose, to be a blessing to those in need. That's my biggest purpose.
Okay, and I heard you say you love giving back to kids. If I may ask, can you let our audience know what it is that you do where you're able to give back to kids?
Well, I work for the Chicago Public School System. I work at Spencer Academy, and I enjoy working and interacting with the children and just looking at the looks on their faces. You know, just when I speak to them every morning and tell them something positive, you know, I love doing that. Just anything involving children puts a smile on my face, just to see the smile on their face, because we never know what our children are going through. So just being able to interact with the children, that makes my day.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And I know my next question was asking you why are you passionate, but you clearly just answered the question of why you're passionate in working with young people. As many may not know, she has been working with young people for plus years, over a decade. And, you know, I feel like you gotta like young people in some type of way or have a passion for them to do the work for that long period of time. So I definitely applaud all my people that's in the community working with our young people and, you know, dealing with them. And one thing I can say, all the young people always have a liking for you.
Yes, they do.
Always have a liking for you. So
yes,
that's one thing I can
do.
say about young people from always.
The different schools.
Yeah, that's always
yes.
been. Okay, going to our next question. Have you had any type of encounter with a young person, like, where you felt like you was a spark in their life? Like anything going on or anything where you don't ever had, and if you can't think of nothing at the moment, that's fine too.
Um, I got quite a few um, encounters that I've had with children, but when it comes to the children and the youth, because you never know who's listening to you, I try to keep whatever encounter I have
Personal,
with
okay.
children personal,
And that's good to
because
know.
sometimes people can be listening to you and kind of pinpoint, especially some people know you and they can pinpoint who you're talking about. But I've had a lot of encounters with children where, whether it's just communicating or whether it's being able to reach out and help them, because I know that their needs are great, because we have so many children working in the public school system. We have so many children that are going through so much, and a lot of times those children don't want to talk about it. But when you get to know children real well, you can kind of tell. Those children are the ones that I can pull to the side and, say, come on, you can talk to me. And that's the reason why those children gravitate to me so much, because I'm one of the ones that reach out to them. I'm pulling them to the side. Come here, come talk to me. So I have a lot of different situations with children, but again, I'm here just to be a blessing and just to let them know that I'm there if they ever need me.
And that's good to also know that you're one of the adult figures where kids feel comfortable enough to be able to talk to you,
Mm-hmm.
and it not be where I come to you and express to you how I feel and it's going back and the next person is hearing about it and just having a safe space with you. That's good to know that
Mm-hmm.
you allow kids to have that safe space, because I feel like that's one of the issues we have in the community, where young people don't feel as though they have safe spaces. Yeah, I could go talk to Nikki, John, and Bobby, but Nikki, John, and Bobby, once I say this to Nikki gonna go to John and say it, and John gonna go to, and it's like, kids feel uncomfortable when it comes to them type of situations. So it's good to know
Mm-hmm.
that you're, a safe space for the kids to be able to come and talk to you when needed, and not for no judgment, or not for it to be where it's going out and other people is finding out what they got going
Right.
on. So the next question I have: what do you feel the community needs to help our young people grow? Because as you clearly probably see, it's a lot going on.
It's a
It's
whole lot
Yeah, it's a lot going
going
on,
on.
and especially in the community that you're working in. What do you think our young people need, like with everything going on? What do you suggest?
I think that our youth need for it, because there's so many different organizations out here. It's so many different youth programs. It's a whole lot of stuff going on out here. But I don't think no one is getting to the root of what's really going on with our children. And because everybody's working so separate, I think that a lot of these organizations that's going on out here need to come together, and so that we all can strategize and figure out what our children really need. And I think that that's one of the problems. Everybody's working so divided and so separately that we cannot get to the root problem. Yeah, I might find out this, and I might can be able to help you over here, but you got some bigger things that's going on. But if we all come together as one,
Your little piece and my little
if
piece.
we all strategize together, I believe that we could really help our youth, because I feel like our youth, even though they go into all these different organizations, and I'm not going to name any of them, they're still lost. Our youth are lost out here, and there's so much going on. And we got to that old saying, it takes a village.
Mm-hmm.
It really does take a village to raise our children, because our children are lost.
Okay.
Hmm.
And in what ways do young people show you they need help or assistance without saying it? Because that is another issue where you have a lot of young people that they're afraid to talk. They're afraid to be judged. They're afraid to express their feelings. They don't know how you're going to accept it. They don't know how you're going to respond. So do you know that you work in the school system? In what ways can you tell something is going on with a young person without them verbally telling you, like, I have issues going on?
Because I watch the young people, we have some of them that come to school every day and they're angry. They're
That's a big one.
literally angry. They come to school and you can look at the way they're dressed and just the things they say out of their mouth. They're angry. We have children that come to school every day, and when I speak to these children in the morning, I'm like, what is wrong? You just woke
It's the
up.
beginning of the day.
Why
Yeah.
are you so angry? What is wrong? And you can see the looks on their faces. These children be wanting to talk, but they're scared to talk. Because now it's out here, if you say too much, you can be taken, and they don't want to be taken
Yeah.
from their families, but they want help. But they don't know how to ask for help. So they interact by either wanting to fight every day, or being disrespectful to the adults, or just being flat out angry every day. And they, sometimes you have to pull those students to the side. And I have had quite a few that I've pulled to the side. And when they start talking, it brings tears to your eyes to know that these children are really, really going through something, and it's only so much. That's the reason why I said it takes a village. It's only so much one person can do to help, because you got a lot of these families, they don't want you coming in their families and spilling out all of their dirty laundry of what's really going on behind closed doors with these kids. But our children are really going through something, and a lot of ways that they let us know what they're going through is by the anger, by how disrespectful they are, and they're disrespectful, and they speak the way they do and they act the way they do because they're angry, because of whatever is going on when they go outside and go home and whatnot. Our children are really experiencing a lot of turmoil in their lives, and a lot of them, they're so young.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to deal with it. So they deal with it by being angry, by fighting, by being disrespectful. That's how they deal with it. And you can tell that child is really going through something,
I agree. I definitely agree with that. And then, like I said, it's just being where you have adults that, depending on how adults take it. You adult that when you see a child being angry, your mindset is to let me figure out what's going on with the child, versus you have adults where when you find out a child is angry, it's like, okay, now it's time to suspend them. Kick them out to school. Don't have them in the school.
Or match their energy.
Yeah.
A lot of adults, when they see children acting like that, they match their energy. You got an attitude, you want to curse me out, I'm going to curse you back out. I'm going to give you what you're looking for. No, that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for some attention that they're not getting. And so they're trying to get it in another way, not realizing that way could turn around and backfire on them. So, yeah.
I agree. What do you feel like the state of young people in Chicago is? Like, in your opinion, what do you feel like?
Confusion, angry, scared,
Scared why?
because of what's going on out in this world. Nowadays, we live in, these young people, to them, death is normal, A lot of them, even though it's normal to them, it's scary to know that I can walk out of my door and somebody can just start shooting and I can get caught up, in some shooting, or just get caught up and not have to have anything to do with what's going on. But our children they're confused because they don't know what's going on. They angry because they can't do nothing about it. And then they're scared because they don't know if they're going to live from one day to the next. They're watching their peers every day losing their lives at such a young age. Every time you look around, they're going to funerals of people either their age or younger than them. Their siblings, it's just a whole lot going on, and it's scary. It's scary to me as an adult, so I can imagine how a child feels. I'm scared to walk the streets.
I was going to say, you can't control it. You got to walk to school.
Right.
You have to.
And they have yet to know how to deal with everything that's going on. These young people, they don't know how to deal with what's going on. That's the reason why, the state of mind of these young people, when you watch these young people, I watch them all the time. When they walk in the streets, they not walking the streets watching their back. They walk in the streets playing with their phones,
and the whole
not knowing the state of mind of the next person. These people nowadays, they don't care if it's young people in the area when they getting ready to start shooting.
Because back in the day, it used to be they tell the kids to go in the house before something happens.
Get out the way. Mm-hmm. Now, it's like if you in the way, you in the way. If you get caught up, you get caught up. And so they live, in this younger generation, they live where, oh well, we gotta die one day.
You're gonna die one day.
Oh well, I ain't finna be scared. I'm just living life, not knowing that they living in a state of mind where you could get caught in a situation all because you're not aware. Mm-hmm. Or you think it's normal. It's not normal.
Or just being around anybody.
Right. So, it's a lot going on with our youth.
And with all of this, as far as I didn't hear you speak too much on like drugs and stuff, because that's another thing that I feel like our young people is going through, where it's like it's too accessible for drugs, it's too accessible for liquor. It's like everything became like, when I was growing up, you couldn't. And like, even though you had people that you can probably, swindle with liquor and stuff, you couldn't how easy it is for kids to just go to the liquor store and ask somebody to walk in the store and buy them something, or buy them this and buy them that. It's too easy. And I feel like that's another issue that we have, where our young people are feeling like we working in high schools, and high schools, kids are coming to school super high. Kids are coming to school drunk and feel like it's okay, or talking about how they're drinking over the weekend or getting drunk with their friends at the age of 15, 16, and they feel like it's okay. What do we need to do? What do you feel like we can do? Do you feel like we can do something? Like, do you feel like I know we have programs in the areas that's, that navigate with this type of information and stuff like that. But how do you feel like we could move forward with helping our young people? How do you feel like we can move forward? Because we have the resources, we have the programs, what do we do from this point on? That
has to take place with so many different organizations and youth programs coming together and strategizing and coming up with a solution. Because nowadays, even though these, because my thing is, when these children come into the schools and you smell them and they smell like nothing but drugs and this, that, and other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There used to be a time when you could do something about it. But now they have adults and whatnot, hands tied so much till every little thing you do to try to deal with certain situations, you're going to be held accountable for.
So it got to start at home.
It's got to start at home.
We got to start at home.
And we got to figure out a way with all these different organizations to, not just involve the children, involve the parents. Mm-hmm. Come up with some organizations where you can have the children and the parents, so that we can come up with a solution how we can solve these things. Because our children, even in grammar schools, our children come to schools and all you smell is drugs on them.
I done heard a couple of incidents where they say kids are doing edibles and all this in grammar school.
Yes,
and being hospitalized behind it.
What do you do? Because if you address it, these children go home and tell their parents. The parents want to come to school and act out with you because you said something about their child, even though it was the truth.
It was the truth, yeah.
But they don't want to accept it because a lot of times that's what's going on at home. It's acceptable at home. So you have to not only just reach the children, you have to find a way to reach the adults. Also, the parents, some parent, whether it's the father or the mother, but somebody got to play a role in you reaching the children, because if it's acceptable at home, what you gonna do?
Yeah, just like with the cursing and all that type of stuff is.
What you gonna do?
How you expect with our kids? Yeah,
that's how our kids talk.
Yeah.
Nowadays, if you say, don't talk to me like that because you a kid, and what that mean? I can talk like this at home, so how you gonna tell me to stop?
Exactly.
So it's got to be some kind of way where the children, along with the parents, we got to be able to reach both sides. it can't be just a child. Because once that child get away from you, whatever they're used to doing, that's what they continue to do. Because I notice a lot of students that I run into, and I hear people tell me all the time, they're not, the way they interact with you, that's not
how
that
they
kid is horrible.
Yeah, I have experiences with
like,
kids
but
like that too. Where it's like people like
I don't
Yeah.
see that. Because when I communicate with them, I'm looking at a sweet little child, and somebody else will turn around and tell me, "Oh, you don't know that child." You know,
Well, have they did that to you yet?
no, I haven't experienced that.
Yeah.
And it's because of the way I
The
interact
relationship
with them.
you have with them, yeah.
You know, so much so that those same students turn around, and every time I look around, it's mama this. Or they calling me like I'm one of their parents or something, and it's so much respect. But then I'll see that same student interact with somebody else, and I'm looking like, are you serious?
You know what I always say? Anytime I talk about young people, I always let it be known that a young person, like me personally, I done worked in the field where I done been working with like little babies, and I used to always tell parents, I used to work with 2 and 3-year-olds, and I used to always tell the parents, like I'll see the child with their parent once they get out of school, and the child would, like you would look at the child and be like, that is not the same child that was in my classroom.
Exactly.
And a parent would be like, how do you get my child to act this way? Or how do you get my child to act that way? And one thing I can say, I've always been a strict teacher, but at the same time, one thing I can say is kids, I feel like kids know when the love is there. Regardless to if I'm checking you, regardless to if I'm telling you when you're wrong, regardless to if you're getting in trouble about me, it's like you still know once you get in trouble about me, I still love you the same. I'm still going to treat you the same. I'm still here for you versus it being coming from a person where they know deep down inside you don't care for me. Deep down inside you don't care. Once I leave this door, if something was to happen to me, you don't care. And young people as young as 1 and 2 years old understand that. And so when it comes to them type of situations where it's like you go to, because it's the same way with us when we go to schools, the kids will respect us, and they older kids, they're teenage kids, like finna be grown. They will respect us, but when other people come around, they be like, totally different. Like, and you
Totally
could tell
different.
the difference, but you could tell the difference with the interaction that we might have with them kids versus how other people interact with the kids. So I definitely agree with that, and I feel like that's one of the biggest things where it's like you have to show these kids love. You got to show them that you care. You got to show them that what they saying means something, even if it don't mean the most to you. You got to make them feel like, because guess what? At home they probably have people that act like they don't care. So if they come to you talking to you about something, you act like everything they say is the bare minimum.
Right.
What you like? How do you expect a young person to react? Because that's the same with us when we was younger. If I feel like you don't care about what I'm saying, I'm just gonna stop talking.
And that's why I believe I try real hard to be that ear, that listening ear. That no matter what, if you need to talk to me, come on and talk to me. I'm gonna listen to you. I'm going to listen to everything you have to say, and I'm going to respond, but I'm going to listen to you. If I feel like you're saying something wrong, I'm going to tell you, you know, but I'm going to tell you in a loving way so that you'll feel comfortable reaching out to me, you know, because you have to let the children know that, you know, you can talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, pour your heart out. You know, tell me how you really feel so I can respond to that. You know, because a lot of our children don't get that. A lot of our children are not able to speak, you know, and I love listening to the children. You know, we have a lot of, even at our school, we have a lot of immigrants at our school. And even those students I find that really can't even speak English, I catch them, I can't even walk past any of them half the time. And they just grabs onto me. They come and grab me. They want to hug me, you know, and it's because of how I make them feel. I make them feel like you're special. I care about you, you know. So when they see me, you know, it makes a difference with them. And you know, and like I said, you know, it's all about being able to be there for them when they need someone to talk to, or just being there if they just need you to listen.
Yeah.
Just listen to what they got to say and let them know I hear you. Because a lot of our children are not being heard. you know.
Okay. And if you're just not tuning in tonight, our guest on the show is Mrs. Gloria Jones, and we are discussing community leaders engaging and empowering our youth through social change and community empowerment. We're down to our last couple of seconds. If it's any last minute things you would like to tell our audience, any young people that may be watching, do you have any advice for young people that desire to improve their quality of life but just need a push?
I would say to our youth, keep believing in yourself. No matter what, never give up on yourself. Even if others you feel give up on you, don't give up on yourself. Know that there is nothing that you can't do. We have a lot of examples that there's nothing that you can't do. We have people like Obama, Martin Luther King. We have so many people that have paved the way for our people. And I would say to any youth, believe in yourself. Even if you feel that no one else believes in you, believe in yourself. Know that you can do it. Know that it's possible if you only believe. The sky's the limit.
I love it. And like y'all always said, anytime I come on here real fast, I always be like, my favorite quote is the sky's the limit. This is the person that put it in my car when I graduated. And so ever since then, that's been my favorite quote, the sky's the limit. Mm-hmm. But thank you everyone for tuning in tonight, watching us for another episode. We will be back next week, same time, same station. And if you want to contact us for any information, you can contact us at 773-287-5821. Again, the number is 773-287-5821. And thank you, Ms. Jones, for being a guest on our show tonight. See you guys next week.